All right, everyone. The House Democrats now vexed by the fact that Trump has asserted executive privilege over certain documents relating to William Barr, the Attorney General. This is going to be used as evidence of Trump being a wrongdoer by the Democrats, but ultimately, at the end of the day, it'll be impotent bluster and it'll be more about posturing than anything. Here's the thing. By trying to force Trump's hand, and they did, this is a successful maneuver by House Democrats, they can make Trump look guilty without any recourse to proving it, because they can't get the documents. He's exerted executive privilege. So what does that leave you with? It leaves you with a situation where Trump's core fans dismiss it as a witch hunt. Trump's opponents, the people who like the Democrats or never Trump or something, they assume Trump is guilty. Everyone else sort of has to scratch their heads and muddle on. But really, all of this bullshit that's going on with the House Democrats, with their investigations, is nothing more than a political maneuver by Democrats to prolong the sort of dark cloud that hung over the Trump administration during the Mueller probe. The Mueller probe culminates with Mueller saying there was no collusion with a foreign state. The central premise of the entire initial investigation that allowed it to go forth, that allowed the probe to begin, number one, and kept it going, number two, the reason, the stated purpose of that probe was false. There was no collusion between anyone in the Trump campaign and anyone in Russia at a level that would be deemed inappropriate. That is, that no criminal action was found. And they investigated thousands of people for several years. I would think that if there were any collusion, they probably would have been able to find at least some tangential evidence. Trump looks squeaky clean on that. The Democrats had a nervous breakdown and immediately defaulted to talking about obstruction, which Mueller could not confirm or deny because obstruction is such a loose, malleable term when you're talking about Twitter. You're talking about something that's never really been tested as far as the U.S. judiciary. Mueller can't physically say whether Trump obstructed anything because he can't determine what the threshold of obstruction is. Now, Mueller, in all honesty, and he was called out for this by some people, he shouldn't have even said that. I know it's a cop-out. It's a throw of a bone to the Democrats. I understand that. Mueller's not exactly a Trump fan, if you know what I'm saying, but as someone who's investigating, his job is not to say, well, we couldn't find evidence of it. No, if you did, then he didn't do it. Your job is to determine whether you can bring charges, not to, you can't prove a negative. You can't prove objectively that no, Trump never jaywalked or something like that, but you can find evidence of it if he did. If you don't find evidence, you presume innocence. Now, of course, it's not how the judicial system actually works these days. It seems more and more, especially with that fucking dude claiming that Trump was like Nixon and you know, he admits his bias on day one of testimony. He shouldn't have been brought before Congress, in all honesty, because it's just a clusterfuck of awful. The way in which these proceedings are proceeding is purely biased. The idea initially in our country of having the U.S. House able to investigate in this kind of manner was to hold everyone accountable. The House was seen as the part of government closest to the people. Directly elected, initially senators weren't. Senators were not initially elected by popular vote. You do realize that, right? It wasn't, hey, you vote for the senators. No, I believe it was the legislatures of the states nominated and put through senators. It was sort of the representatives of the representatives. The idea was that was the intelligentsia, that was the upper crust that would be slower, more measured. The House was more close to the people, would exert their will. So the House exerts the people's will, the Senate restrains the people's will if it's, not a good thing, and then you have the executive to lead things, which was primarily related to war at the time and not much else. And to veto, as a final stopgap, to slow things down further. Our government was never meant to move as fast or with as much latitude as it does today. And there's something to be said for obstruction. It's too bad that they always agree in spirit and pass things unanimously if they're a shitty idea. Oh yeah, we want to spend money on worthless shit. We want to send money overseas to our allies around the world and waste taxpayer money. We want to line our own pockets. We want to give corporate welfare or something. They always agree on that. Funny to hear Bernie Sanders ramble about the Republicans liking corporate welfare. Okay, Bernie. Yeah, the Democrats have really shut off the spigot when they've been in charge. Yeah, Obama, man, he just hated those corporations when he let them frack all over the place and even cause earthquakes in the middle of Oklahoma. What a fucking environmentalist he is. Yeah, Bernie Sanders is full of fucking shit. But Trump is using executive privilege, but that's going to make him look guilty to people who presume he's guilty. It just keeps the partisan charade going. At this point, the Democrats' best hope is to keep that going, specifically because if they let it go, If they go back to simply being a normal party, they have a platform, they operate in a marginally normal political manner, they will lose in 2020 big time. Because Trump will run on the economy and it'll be like him running them over with a steamroller. They know this. People will think with their wallets, they'll look around, we're not in any major wars, the economy's going fine, doomsday didn't happen, and Satan's not reigning over the world because Orange Man bad. And actually Botswana just legalized gay rights or something like that as part of Trump's push around the world to expand that, which is funny because I don't remember Obama doing such a thing. It was funny, like Ramsey Paul actually had like a bitter take. Of course, he's like, oh, this is cucked and stuff. Yeah, but it's nice to see people able to live their lives and not get beheaded. I don't have a problem with that sort of initiative. It's interesting, Trump is the first gay president. They always thought it was Obama, now didn't they? Now, Obama was the first one to get the fuck out of the way of state legislatures and the judiciary, basically, on that one. But, I support Trump using executive privilege. It's his right. He has every right to do it. It's sort of like taking the fifth, though. It's going to make him look guilty, even though he's saying, look, there's classified shit here and personal shit of people pertinent to Mueller and Barr's reporting. So, no, you can't look at it because that's crazy. Breaches the Fourth Amendment almost when you really think about it. But the House is going to make this a big issue and make a big fuss about it. Oh, my God, he's trying to cover his ass. So it's the partisan game all over again, because then the Democrats think that if they keep that going, at least they have a chance in 2020. They're looking at their field and they're sweating. They're feeling nervous. I can tell you absolutely Pelosi and Perez and all of these other high-level bigwig Democrats are trying to cover their own party's ass right now, because they know otherwise if the gig falls apart, they lose. That's about all. Peace out.